Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality, starring your host, James Quirk. Special guest today, Scott Roeder. Jim, how you doing?
Pretty, pretty good, Scott. Thanks a lot for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the taking care of the introductions. That's one less thing I had to do today. I really appreciate that.
Well,
Thank you very much.
I just do my best to live up to the high standards that you've set. And the bar is high. I just hope to compete in the game.
Okay. Well, you're doing a great job already. That was, I don't have anything to. I mean, you seems like you've learned. You've educated yourself on this, and you know what you're doing now.
Yeah. Well, you have to, constantly you have to be prepared.
Right.
And whatever it is that you're doing in life, whether it's living in Hawaii on the Big Island, reporting the news, or solving crime, or living through hard winters, going through good times and bad, you just have to give your best effort. And I truly want to be a good, fair broadcaster, and because I have fun with it, and I think people are interested in the things that we're bringing them, especially the Las Vegas alien case. I mean, we have absolute proof of the presence of non-human intelligence right here on Earth, and we've proven it beyond a reasonable doubt to a legal standard. So much so that we've been invited to be an expert. I've been invited to be an expert on Ancient Aliens, the History Channel, in an episode coming out in 2025 called Aliens in Our Midst. And it's going to be 1 hour all about the Las Vegas alien backyard encounter of April 30th, May 1st, 2023. Of course, Jim, I'm going to do my best to make sure Jim is involved on that broadcast, and all of his family and at the Extraterrestrial Quirk Zone Nation, because I truly hope that ET Reality, the Quirk Zone, Scott Roeder Crime Scene, and Crime Scene Time Machine can come together as a true audience, and we can really, I think really from this grassroots level, shake the world off its foundation.
Well, you know what? I think it is pretty big. The fact that that it is going to be on Ancient Aliens, that it's going to be apparently going to be getting filmed in February, and the idea that yep. So the idea that it's going to be on at some point this year, the fact that a major, I mean, because you're talking tens of millions of people across the world are going to see this episode. Now, a lot of people are completely unaware of this case. Like I said, we were talking to have Chris Lathrop on yesterday. We were talking about how there's just a lot of people out there that don't understand how significant this case is, and the fact that it's going to be on Ancient Aliens, and there's going to be they're going to be talking about it for a whole hour. That should be plenty of time to get the message across about how important this case is. So I think this is big news. The fact that Ancient Aliens is going to be doing this. I mean, and that could be just the beginning. There could be other shows. I mean, I think 2025 is going to be a big year when it comes to this case, because I think a lot of people thought, oh, it's just going to go away. Well, guess what? It ain't going away. It ain't going away.
All I got to say to you about that, Jim, is hello, friends. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I mean, so we're going to be pushing this case. This is not over yet. There's still more investigation. We were talking about some new possible.
We just found a new guy in the video today, and we've been trying to cross-reference that with things that I found independently early on that we kind of set to the side because it was only in like 1 or 2 frames, and at that point in time, we were getting really eye weary of the case, because when you look at, and this is like even my crime scenes that I look at. I was working on a homicide investigation in California. This famous X Games gold medal winner, Michael Biker Sherlock. It was ruled that he committed suicide. And I was looking at the crime scene photographs and looking at the autopsy photographs, and the family, they were like, Scott, this is not suicide. This is a homicide. And I was like, I don't see it. I just don't see it. Everything to me was lining up at first pass, even a comprehensive first pass. It was lining up as a suicide. But then I set the case down because I was really busy, and there was no deadline. I had no trial date. It was just a private investigation at that point. So I set the case down for like a month or so and just didn't even look at it. And I picked it up one day, having a cup of tea, and I'm looking at it. And I'm looking at these crime scene photographs, and I realized that the butt of the gun that was used to shoot him had this perfect square that was 1.5 inches by 2 inches, right, on the barrel, the handle, and he had a bruise on his upper left forehead where his hair kind of covered it, and it fit the exact dimension of the bottom of the gun. So somebody took his gun away from him, hit him in the head, knocked him down, and then put the gun in his mouth and fired. But because I had not noticed the bruise on his forehead because it was covered up by the hair in the autopsy photograph, but there was one view of it when the body was still at the crime scene. It was right on the beach in San Diego. And his hair was pushed back. And I zoomed and I saw the bruise. And then I went to the autopsy report. I saw that he had a fracture there with hematoma underneath the skull cap, which would have been enough to knock him at least down, if not partially out. It's a knockout blow. Okay. And it was only after a month of not look. And that's what's going that and we proved that it was a homicide. Right? Ultimately, it was setting it down. But we've always been able to prove that the Las Vegas alien case is real. Now we're just finding more stuff. And that's how it goes when, you never give up on a case until you come to a conclusion, right? And we brought this case not entirely to a conclusion, because I think the conclusion of this case results in the majority of people who are at least in the conversation about UFOs acknowledges that this case is a bigger story than the Tic Tac. It's a bigger story than the Go Fast. It's a bigger story than the gimbal or the Corbell or the this or the that or the other thing. This is bigger than all of it because we have absolute proof. And like Jim says, it's a brand you can trust.
Yeah, it's the only brand. It's the only brand. The only brand that makes any sense.
It's the only one. Listen, I'm a consumer of the UFO topic, generally speaking. God bless you. And there's a lot of interesting stories out there. Like the Miami Mall incident was a very interesting story, but it just doesn't add up with enough evidence to put our eggs in that basket and say it's 100% real. Is it real? I don't know. Could it be real? Yeah. Could it be a conflated misunderstanding and then a mob mentality? Yeah, maybe. We have a lot of footage that's very distorted. Some of the footage is clearly AI generated bullshit. Excuse my language. Bull pucky, whatever. I'm trying to go clean, not talk dirty words, because the YouTube they want to make sure that the show's kid friendly, and so do I, because I'm a grandfather now. So I make a pledge to the ET reality community. I'm gonna stop swearing.
But like you said, though, you're saying though about the about the the fact that Miami Mall, has been people that have contacted me, and I promised that next time you're on the show that you would talk about it. So basically, there's just not, what you're saying is there's not enough evidence there. I've looked into the case. There's some good testimony and everything, and it's very intriguing. However, there's not a lot of video evidence. It's unlike the Vegas case.
Well, I think that you have to, not every story is the biggest story, but some people want to hear about other stories. And I get that. I get sick of talking about the Las Vegas alien case, because I did a show with Stephen Diener over at UAP 50. Great show. Shout out to Steve over there. I've been on his show like 6 or 7 times, maybe 3 or 4 times, I guess now. And he's helped just bring that story to the Vegas case. And he's a believer. And now we have SDS Nation as a believer, saving these survivors. Shout out to my boy Joe Waldman and Grandma out there at STS Nation, your leader in Best Guess for True Crime, hosted by Joel Waterman. His mother is a Holocaust survivor. And the title of the show, Surviving the Survivor, is kind of a take on him surviving being raised by a Holocaust survivor and all of the things that he had to go through as a kid, and the stories and the thing, is it's a really raw. He just came out with a book. He's a great, fun guy. I love him. And we talk true crime, but he brought the Vegas alien case to the true crime community, and the jury is in, folks. We win. The verdict was in our favor. Matter of fact, we even challenged the debunkers to a trial that would the audience would be the jury, and crickets, crickets, crickets from all of the debunkers. Matter of fact, today is January 10th, 2025, and to this day, there has not been one credible claim to dispute this evidence. We are undefeated. As a matter of fact, we are unchallenged by these so-called experts in the UFO field. And, I feel like, we got a dynasty going here. We're undefeated.
Well, it is a dynasty. I mean, for one thing, it's never going to. I mean, there's just too many strings to it, and all of them make there's no holes in the plot, really. I mean, there's some things we don't have, but there's enough right now. There's enough in the kitty right now that shows us, that informs us that it was a real deal, and more people need to know about this. And the rest of the UFO community, I'm sorry, I know you might not want to talk about it, but guess what? This proves what you're trying to talk about. So I don't know what you're waiting for. What do you like? I've talked about this before. What are these people going to think? The people that follow UFOs that are interested in this subject, all the people out there who are being not told because the other people in the UFO community aren't acknowledging this or even informing them of it or telling them, oh, there's nothing to it, it's only shadows. What are they going to think in the future when they find out that's not the case? Because this is never getting debunked, folks. It's never, ever going to get debunked. So you're dropping the ball right now, and it's going to come back and haunt you in the future at some point, because people are going to be wondering, well, why weren't you telling me about this? Why were you mentioning this? Why weren't you acknowledging this? This showed us right here, there, and then, I mean, that there was something here. Yeah. And it also tells us that the government is covering it up, because they never responded to the letter that I sent them. And not only that, but they've been saying that there's no evidence of aliens or UFOs in the United States. Well, guess what? This Las Vegas happens to be in the United States.
Listen, there's a lot of, forgive my terminology here, there's a lot of fake news with regard to the UFO story, right? And I'm not trying to do a shout out to the Trump people, although, hey, everybody. I'm very not political, but I love the term fake news, because there is a certain disinformation, and whether it's deliberate indifference, that's a legal standard. Did you know that? When you calculate damages on a personal injury case, and you try to apportion blame on parties that they could be held liable for, there's a term called deliberate indifference, where you could be liable. And this doesn't apply. Nobody's going to be legally liable. But I think that your reputation as a journalist, you should be liable if you have deliberate indifference to a real story, and the only reason you're not addressing the story is because of some shallow vanity issue, or some ego, or you can't make money on it, or whatever. I don't understand. But even friends won't be really good friends if you're not giving them the glory, right? And that's why I love partnering up with you, Jim, because there's no competition. I found it, you found it. Listen, this is a for and by the community, right?
Yes.
And I think that's what bothers professional, quote unquote, presenters, or entertainers, or Netflix guys, or whatever, podcasters, whatever they want, bloggers, all that stuff, is that we're a couple of, I mean, I'm pretty well known as a crime scene guy, but in the podcasting world, you and I are relative unknowns. We're not Joe Rogan or anything. Shout out to Joe Rogan. Hello, friends. But love Joe. Love that show. But the Joe Rogan Experience is a really good show. And yeah, it's a really good show. So shout out to Joe out there, my boy in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, I just think that more people. I mean, the problem is that it's not just the people in the UFO community; it's also the mainstream media. I mean,
Yeah.
we only had a couple of people that were interested in it, and how could they not see this? I mean, I guess it's just I'm flabbergasted that the story this big is being covered up at this. Basically that's what it is. I mean, there's been a cover up since it started. Actually, that we'll get into
Yeah.
that a little bit later, but that's what's been going on here.
Well, what would you say the percentage of the community, the news community out there? I mean, how many people are in the United States? Like 350 million people, something like that. That latest count, something like that. Might be more. Might be, I don't know when the latest census was. Let's just say 350 million people. Okay. Maybe half of them are over the age of 21. I think the people that watch or pay attention to the news are generally speaking between the ages of 30 and dead, and whatever that dead number is. And uh, so, there's probably 80 million people out there that are consumers of the news, right? Out of those 80 million news consumers in the United States, um, how many millions of people you think know about this case? Just even know about it at any level.
I mean, there might be, I don't know. I mean, I can't even guesstimate that. I have no idea. I mean, you have to think about it. Now, you just
2%,
were over in
5%,
Japan recently.
1%, half of a percent. I mean, it's certainly not 10%.
No, it's
I
not
mean,
10%. It's
imagine it,
definitely
50% of
small.
those people, just half of everybody. Because 100% of the people out there that consume news know that there's a war going on in the Ukraine. I say more than half of the people out there are familiar with the war going on over in the Middle East. I think everybody knew that there was COVID on, but this is bigger than all those stories because once the majority of people know that there are aliens that visit us, we're just going to use the term aliens, right? That there are visitors that from outer space, if you just want to be basic about it, or from wherever that are visiting us in technical craft. People are going to be like, okay, cool or scary, but can we talk about how they got here? Like, what's up with that ship? Like, what does that run on? Like, can we use that?
Right.
Can you know what I mean? Because that's where this goes, and that's why I'm going to give a big shout out to my new friend Ashton Forbes and his investigation of the missing Malaysian flight. Because, and then it dawned on me because I was interviewing Avi Loeb recently, and I was talking to him about plasma orbs. His first PhD is in plasma physics, and second PhD is in astrophysics. So I don't know what his third PhD is, and he was trying not to brag, but um, smart guy, right? Ashton Forbes, smart guy. He put together that these orbs might be some kind of secret government technology. And then I asked Avi Loeb, I'm like, how is an orb created? He's like, well, theoretically, you could create an orb with, say, a high-powered laser with a concentrated amount of energy. It'll sep the ions from the freons, and it'll create a gas bubble, a blob. And if you keep directing the energy continuously into the bubble, you could theoretically control the gas bubble in any way you want from a distance. And then I saw today that, did you know, the United States Air Force has a directed energy weapon mounted to the most sophisticated airplane in the world that can hover at 60,000 feet for up, not hover, but like loiter is the term they use. At 60,000 feet for up to 5 hours, can be refueled in the sky, essentially never has to land, and can destroy an object with a high powered directed energy beam from 60 miles away. And then it dawned on me, Avi Loeb says you could create a plasma orb with a high powered laser. And then I'm thinking about Ashton Forbes and these plasma orbs that are going around the plane. And, you know, you start asking yourself, is there reality in the science around free energy when it comes to the ether and wireless electricity. I did a podcast with my friend Nolan Cavano called The Electric Universe. And it was all about how there's enough energy in front of your body in the size of a basketball that could power your whole life. It's in the ether, right? There's science on this. Some people say it's not mainstream science. Certainly, they don't teach it at the Rockefeller School for Average Learning and Consensus Building. By the way, Avi Loeb laughed at that joke because he thinks that the Rockefeller Institution for Education is a joke. And he, I think, is a bit of a renegade. He's not in the classroom talking theory anymore. He's out in the field, scraping the bottom of the ocean with magnets to find extraterrestrial artifacts. We are on the precipice with guys like Avi Loeb and the Galileo Project of bringing not only the UFO file in front of the majority of people in the world that need to know about it, but the UFO file ultimately leads to free energy. And the free energy means that we are free as people to do what we want in our lives, to pursue our dreams, you know? So that's just my little lecture there. Back over to you, Jim.
Well, I wanted to talk about getting back to the our big story that we always talk
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
I
Listen,
know we're both sick of talking about it.
no, I'm not
Now,
sick of talking about it. Listen, it's this. Oh, I turned my mind. It's the feast that keeps on feeding.
it is. I mean, there's just so much to it. There's so many good things
There is.
about it. I mean, now this is something we were talking about. Yesterday, Chris Lathrop was on,
Yeah.
and
Oh, by the way, yeah, shout out to Chris. That was nice seeing him on your show.
yeah,
He does such a good job with the research. Uh, he is a very good. I don't know what he does for like his full-time day job, and I've always talked to him on Twitter a few times. But that guy, he's smart and he's a good researcher. So shout out to Chris. Thanks for your help, brother. And I hope you saw that I gave you all the credit in my report for your excellent research, and I really appreciate it. And I'd like to have you on my show sometime, and we could talk about this case.
okay, now this is what he was talking about yesterday, and this was put on Reddit by somebody who's not on Reddit anymore, who ended up getting suspended. Somebody named Left Muscle 8355. This
So
was
what's his
put on
name?
Left Muscle 8355. This was put on Reddit on actually a Vegas locals subreddit on Reddit back on May 17th. 2023, a day before Doug Papa, who was the original investigator for this, ever mentioned anything about it. So that's why this is interesting. And it says a co-worker who has family working at the Las Vegas Metro Police Department related this story to me this morning. Believe what you will. Tuesday, 2 a.m. Northeast Las Vegas, a man sitting in his vehicle calls 911 to report mysterious object with glowing green lights in an empty dirt lot. Metro responds. An officer captures video on body cam and dash cam of the stationary object, approximately 8 feet tall with glowing green lights. Just a few minutes later, the object lifts off and disappears into the sky, leaving a perfect cylindrical burn spot on the ground as the only evidence. The next morning, when the officer submits his report, the FBI and the CIA both arrive and take over the investigation. Dash cam, body cam footage, and all reports of the object are expunged from Metro's records. Reporting officer is now on paid administrative leave. And then there's an update. It says precise location was Decatur and Tropical Parkway. Witness reporting incident was a homeowner with a view of vacant lot from his home. Homeowner's father corroborated the witness statement to Metro on 911 call. Video is out there as not all copies destroyed. Now, we don't know what all of this means. I'm not sure what I guess more investigation needs to be done on this. Was this a separate incident? Was it the same story that we've been talking about for the last couple of years here, or a year and a half or whatever? And now, but some of the information got lost in translation between this person here and the secondhand witness and the other people. I mean, it seems like this, or actually maybe even third hand witness for all we know, or is this a separate incident? Because the location he's talking about was 1.4 miles away from where the Kenmores were living at the time. So is this a separate incident, or is it something was just the same incident, but it was just misreported? I guess that's the question. We don't know. But the interesting part is it came out a day before Doug Papa's first mention of this, and this was Doug Papa's first mention of it. It says exclusive, and this was a day after. He says exclusive breaking news, Las Vegas, from the Doug Papa podcast. Police sources claim unknown airborne object crashed on May 1st in Northeast Area Command Patrol Sector. Talk that it may have been new type of drone from Creech Air Force Base. Las Vegas Communications Center put out over the CAD system to patrol units that person reporting said 8 to 10 feet tall aliens were walking away from the crash. Allegedly, government vehicles were seen in the area the following day. Officers' body worn cameras recorded incident site. It's all hush hush, and officers were told not to discuss incident, sources say. Sounds crazy, but who knows? So that's the story. And so the interesting thing is that came out, Doug Papa's first report came out the day after. So what do you think about this? Is there, I mean, it doesn't really one way or the other. I don't think it changes, the story, but I mean, it could add something to it possibly, but regardless, it doesn't, it makes it more interesting. Maybe. What do you say?
Well, I think, it's something that we have to consider. It's right around the same time. So I think that's interesting. I think it's interesting that there are some commonalities there with regard to the green nature of what they said. But in the report, it's not clear if they're saying it's the craft that's 8 feet tall or the being that's 8 feet tall. It's just, to me, it doesn't have enough actionable data. And it even says in the thing, you got to trust me because it's all been scrubbed. So, I don't know. It's almost, it's interesting. It's compelling. I don't think it's a coincidence. It could be a coincidence. It could be a planted story to preempt because a lot of times that happens. I know this is going into conspiracy theories, but a lot of times the government, listen, I'm not trying to throw shade on the government. The government tries to do the best they can to help us out. And there's a thing called doppelgangers, right? When there's an operation going on. Like, for example, and this is when you get into the assassination file, right? I've researched the John F. Kennedy assassination for years. One of my good closest friends who just passed away, Dr. Cyril Weck, 93 years old, good friend of mine. Love that man. He's a forensic pathologist and by the way, the reason I'm kind of looking off to my right here is I have a beautiful hawk that just landed on my fence, and we have a birdhouse right there, and we have some northern chickadees that are in the birdhouse, and this hawk is staking out the birdhouse for lunch. But it's not every day a hawk lands in and tries to kill some local birds. So, but anyway, the point is the John F. Kennedy case, there's doppelgangers, and sometimes we can call them the secret control group. They will preemptively obfuscate an event.
So that's a possibility. There's a fact that, there's all things there need to be considered, I guess is what you're saying. But the bottom line is, to me, right, it could be something, or whether it is or not, right, it doesn't matter. We already have the proof anyway, so it doesn't matter. I love to get more evidence.
Yeah, I think we're always looking to add more evidence, right?
Yeah.
But you should, as a journalist, or as an investigator, I think journalists and investigators have similar responsibilities in that, I don't know about journalists, but like if I go up on the stand and lie, they could send me to jail, right? It's called perjury. I am not a huge consumer of the news anymore because when you watch the news and you read the newspapers, all they really talk about is war and disease, almost like they're putting a spell, and then we just get war and disease. So what I try to do, what you do, and what other people do, we specialize in certain topics that aren't war or disease because it's interesting and maybe we can make people's lives more informed or happier or more entertaining, right? My goal is to bring the truth out to people, have an interesting conversation about a compelling issue that we've proven is real. And now we're on the hunt to get the word out about this story, because I think ultimately at the end of the day, I'm a dreamer. And at the end of the day, I think the sooner we get to the reality that this is real, the sooner we can jump to the next step, which is the free energy issue. And I think at the end of the day, that should be the goal. Will that happen in my lifetime? Absolutely not. No, we will not have free energy in my lifetime, but maybe 100, 200 years from now, when all the people that built the empires, that stole all the money and burnt all the land are dead and gone, maybe then, finally then, our
Right.
great grandchildren might have free energy that's been available since 1901.
Well, okay, now, but getting back to what the whole thing is that so
I'm
part of
going a
the
little meta on you there. Sorry.
part of
Just
the whole thing, though, the bottom line is this: is that the reality of the situation is that one of the reasons for the cover up is because people they don't the control group, right? I mean, they don't want people to know about this. They don't want people to know about this other alternative energy resources and all that kind of thing. So they want to keep that hush up. But I think
right.
I just don't know. I guess the whole problem is that
Well, but you ask yourself why, Jim? Why are they so scared of the UFO file? Why are they so scared of
because they
talking
lied
about
for so
it?
long. There's a bunch of reasons. Okay, now Scott has sent some new pictures here, and I just want to show them. They're amusing
Oh,
pictures.
hold on. Wait a minute. I have you guys. I have to make. I have to make an admission. Um, I've been searching my heart, and I've been holding this evidence back because, frankly, it was just too tough for me to admit. But breaking news: I finally am bringing forward the evidence that Mick West has that proves the true reality of what was going on in Las Vegas that day. Jim, go ahead. I'm continuing to throw shade over on the debunkers because it's like Count Dracula running away from a crucifix, as the great Jim Quirk once said. Or it's like Randy Johnson pitching to John Kruk in the All-Star game. It's just no competition. And that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at AI art generated images of aliens and raccoons. And you can clearly tell that these are fake, right?
Yeah.
So when the debunkers out there are trying to say, oh, we can't tell what's fake and what's not fake because of AI, that's not true. We can tell fakes that are AI, like these, and things that are not fake, like the evidence that we found organically
Like
in a
this.
alien case like this one. And this guy, this is the one that we found just yesterday. Jim found this, and I think you brought this up on
Well, it
your
was a few
show.
days ago. Yeah, I showed it yesterday for the first
Let's go.
time.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
there
and
it is. You can't see. I'm not. I put draw lines
I
around
see
it.
it. I see it.
There.
I see it right
There's the
there, Jim.
lines.
I see it. Yeah, and that's the thing about this case is that in this area, do you have that other image that I sent you?
Yes, I
That
do.
is okay. But after you show that, because this is there, and then this is that same area by the forklift, not the raccoon one. Don't show that. We
Right.
don't want to get that. Okay. But this, okay, this is real. Okay. This is how you can tell it's not AI generated because this is here in maybe 2, 3 frames out of a 30-second, 30 frames in a second. And this is in the same area. We drew a little white line around it. This is in the
Yep.
same area that the other guy is in. Now, is it the same guy? Is it a different guy? Is it 2 seconds earlier? Is it 30 seconds later? Does he shapeshift? Is it part of the cloaking technology that they can morph like this? But what we can tell you is that Angel said he had big, shiny eyes and a big mouth with teeth, and you could see his stomach moving, and you could hear him growling. And then later he heard them whispering, right? So is the growling and the showing of teeth and the twisting and contorting of the face? Is it kind of like, because if there's any truth to these things being somewhat lizard-like, I think the gray aliens are not really a lizard. They're more of like a robot-y type of a body. But then the tall aliens and then the mantid beings, which I don't think are avatars. I think they are more flesh and blood kind of, lizard, smart lizards or whatever they are. What the lizards do in the
Okay.
wild. And well, listen, it's just biology. They, any animal, and humans are animals too, right? Any animal that feels threatened, they try to make body language to scare you back. Like a lion is, even if he's not going to attack you, he's going to growl at you. A dog is going to bark at you before he bites you, right? Because they're trying to create distance. Is this image just the before picture and then throw back your image?
That, whatever the case, what you're saying is that's different than whatever this is.
Yeah. Take that. See, take it off. Like, I just like it like that because I once you see it, you can't unsee it. And here you can clearly see. Go ahead, put the frame back on. Put the mask on again.
Yeah.
Your graphic. Put the graphic. Okay. So look at that. Now take it away.
Okay, I'll go back and forth with it.
Yeah, take it away. And now, okay, leave it like this. You can see the mouth. You can see the two big eyes. You can see, if you look down under his chin, put the mask back on now.
Okay.
Look right under the point of the chin to the left. It looks like his right arm.
Yeah.
Now take it away. It's like he's like this.
Yeah. I mean, it's,
And
another thing that came to mind is like that black thing behind it. That's another creature. See, that's I talked about this before. That there's
see, this is where we get into. This is where I think we get it. Like when you there's so much going on.
There's so much going on. You can't deny it.
There is so much going on, and if you look at the backyard, and here's why. If you look at the backyard without this event and just look at the physical trucks and forklifts and things that were there, like in the daytime, you can see what's there and what's not there. And let me tell you this, folks, this area in the forklift, in the back, all that stuff where you see like this kind of shadowy, smoky filters, there's nothing that should be there. But yet we're seeing so many things when we do forensic analysis. And it's not just me. It's not just Jim. It's not just Chris. It's not just Matt. It's not just hundreds of, maybe thousands of people now. Maybe not hundreds of thousands. Not hundreds of thousands, but at least thousands of people now. Over at Crime Scene Time Machine, the Quirk Zone, over at UAP Reality, and now over at STS Nation, Fox News Digital, pretty soon the History Channel. The more people that are looking at this, the more they're going to find. And just like Jim going old school with a magnifying glass, sometimes that's what you got to do.
I suggest people out there get a magnifying glass and look at this thing that we're showing. You tell me. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. Here's the thing. It becomes. This is the issue with the whole thing, Scott. To me, is that it's so many times. I counted at least 20 instances. It might be in the 30s or 40s of different instances. It might even be higher than that of when a face is appearing in here. It goes beyond the there's no way that it could be pareidolia, like some people want to say. No. These faces that we're seeing are much too detailed. I mean, pareidolia. No. That's not the case here, and it's not, as you say, that your original analysis, guy. Your original analysis, you were not. This video was the original video, so that means these things are really there, and there's just too many instances, too many times that it happens that makes it impossible. And And here's another one now, and it's just amazing to see it. And yeah, I guess I had trouble believing this one when I first saw it. Like I was even saying that yesterday, but I have to admit, it's there. It's something. I think that's one of the creatures, another creature that we were looking at now. And maybe it might be one of the same ones, but it's just changing. Who knows? Maybe it's shape shifting, like you suggested.
Our job as Americans, if you believe in America, is to challenge the government. That's what makes you a good American. If you just go along to get along, come on. There's too many people in that boat that just go along to get along. Hey, it's not on my front door, so I don't care. The war's not coming here, so I don't care. You know, I got my TV and my ice cream and my pizza and my Netflix, so I don't care. Right? We're better than that, people. We're better than that. We need to be forward thinking. And Jim and I are forward thinking people. We're bringing you the case now. But all these other guys that are being deliberately indifferent or gaslighting or just dum-dums. That's my favorite. Yeah. You know what I have to say to them? Bless your heart, my guy. Bless your heart.
Yeah, this is gonna be we're
when you're walking around with a straight flush,
right?
Ain't nobody bluffing you, baby.
Yeah, well, I'm actually, I'm actually beyond that. You know, from all the last year, there was like bombast and everything, that I was going on. Like, say, hey, we got the absolute proof now. I'm laughing. There was a lot of that. There was a lot of celebration, a lot of, I always told you I had a royal flush and you had nothing, right? There was a lot of that. But this year is different. Now I'm like, okay, I'm sick of this. Okay, I'm sick of you guys pretending there's nothing to this. It's time to let's get with the program here and wake up and let everyone smell reality here. And it's time for everyone to understand what happened here and that it's a very significant story we've been trying to talk about. I thought that, by this point, I thought everyone would have been talking about it. Maybe that will change with this Ancient Aliens episode coming up. We'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah, we're gonna we're going to continue with this case, and there's going to be a lot more to come. We're finding more things in this video. More information is coming out. We're in the midst. We're going to try to get more information from the Las Vegas police if possible. We're going to contact them again.
Oh, Jim, I forgot to tell you. I called the FBI office in Las Vegas, Nevada today.
Wow.
And I wanted to report to you what I found out. So I spoke with an agent. I told him I was going to be off the record, so I'm not going to say his name. And I said, I'm going to be in Las Vegas January week, late January for something with my work. I got to go for a couple of days for a conference. And I said, I was talking to the guy on the phone. I said, I'm Scott Roeder, crime scene expert, and I, investigating and have been investigating for over a year now, the April 30th, May 1st incident at the Gomez house with the aliens in the backyard, in the crash that, and he's like, yes. And I said, yeah. I want the FBI, I want to contact the FBI to see if you have any comment, because there's news reports that the FBI is not only aware of the event, but has participated behind the scenes. Didn't make any accusations, because I'm not accusing the FBI of anything, because I don't think anybody has asked them for their opinion. And listen, I have faith in people.
Well, what did they say?
Okay. I said, can you go on the record and give me your opinion? And he's like, not on the phone. And I said, well, can I meet with you in person? He said, yes, you can meet with me in person. I will give you a comment. I said, do I need an appointment? He's like, I'm here every day from 9 to 5. You can just do a walk-in appointment. And I said, okay, I'll be there. And I was like, I ask you something off the record? And that's why I'm not saying his agent name. I said, are you at least aware of the April 30th, May 1st, 2023 alien encounter, UFO crash at the Gomez house? And he said, yes, I am aware of that. And he said, if you want any more information, you're going to have to file a FOIA. And I said, I don't want any information. I have all the information that I needed to prove this case. I want to share it with you, and I want your comment. And he said, walk in the late January, and I will give you a comment on your presentation. So I don't know what that means, but listen, let's at least give people a chance, right? Listen, I'm very critical of the government. I'm very critical of politics. I'm very critical of national, people's things and stuff. But on the person to person level, people are good. Maybe I'm going to get lucky. Maybe I'm just going to get the guy that decides to talk that day, and it's worth the effort. And so I'm going to go there and I'm going to give the FBI a presentation on what we found. And then when I'm done with the presentation, he's aware of the case. It's the FBI. They have all the tapes. They've probably seen all the videos. I want to get the FBI on the record as to what their opinion is of our evidence. And then I will report back. I'm not going to be able to record it. You're just going to have to trust me. But I haven't lied to you yet, so I'm not going to start now. But I will report to you what they say. And if they want to go on the record, and if I can get them on camera, I'll get them on camera. But they have to, agree to that. If he wants to be off the record, I'm going to allow them to be off the record. But I'm going to report what they say to you guys. And that's what was going on behind the scenes today.
That is a nice little tidbit of information.
Sure.
I like that.
Listen, we're always working, man.
That's right.
I want the government. Listen, I love my country. I love these United States because this country is a dream of being governed by the people. And let's give the FBI a chance. Maybe they want to participate. Maybe they're just waiting for somebody to ask the right question in the right way that gives them the ability to give the right answer.
Well, we're going to find out. And when you talk to them, that's going to be interesting.
It's worth a shot.
I think we need to get answers with regard to some of this new information that came up, and also to actually let's clarify this. Did the FBI and did the CIA did you guys come in and tell this to cover it up? That's what some people are saying. That's what.
Well, I don't want to point any position.
I'm not saying no. I'm not pointing any fingers there, but some of the reports is that's what they said, and the cops have not talked about this a lot. There was one sheriff that talked about it, but we never got the other video. Why is that the case? They're saying because we need to get it from
we know homeowner. I don't think it's I think it's Homeland Security. Listen, Homeland Security was created in 2001 after the 9/11, right? And it's not in the Constitution to even have the Homeland Security. Homeland Security has like 80, 100, 200,000 employees. It's ridiculous. You can look it up. This agency went from nothing, not even existing, and in the last 25 years is literally one of the biggest government agencies the United States has. And they got their fingers in everything. And it was reported that it was Homeland Security that put those cameras on private property at the Gomez family house. By the way, they don't live there anymore. At that time, they were just renting it, but still, ownership. You don't have to be the owner of the property to have privacy rights, and the Homeland Security has no business or right or governmental power or authority to put a camera on personal property where there's an assumption of privacy. So if I'm throwing shade on anybody, I'm throwing it on Homeland Security. Because I have faith that the FBI, I'm going to give them a chance, right? Because, I have friends. A good friend of mine that I went to high school with is an FBI agent, now living in, I think, San Diego. I talk to him from time to time. But these guys are very specialized. Like, this guy only works, my friend, he only works on financial crimes. That's all he does. He's a He's an accountant with a badge and a gun. Okay, that's what he does. He goes for like big time corporate bank fraud kind of stuff. Like that's what he does, and he doesn't know anything about the UFO file. So to get a guy on the phone at the FBI who is in the place where it happened, who knows about it and is willing to talk to me, I think that's a good development.
Yeah, we'll see what he says. Now, I hope he doesn't gaslight us, but we'll give him a chance. We'll give him the benefit now, but we'll find out.
Listen, let's not. I like to put good things into the universe, and I'm telling you now, let's throw some good vibes out there to the FBI. Like I said, maybe they're just waiting for somebody to ask the right question in the right way.
So you're going to give a presentation?
Yeah, I'm going to bring my laptop and I'll take kind of the best of compilation of our videos, and then I'll print out my expert report, which is out there for the world to read. And I'm going to present it to this federal agent at the FBI. And then I'm going to say, do you have any comments? Can you explain this?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what he says. He could say nothing, or he could say, very good job, no comment. But I highly doubt that if he knows, I gave him all my information. He knows who I am. If you don't think the minute I hung up that phone, he didn't Google me, you're joking. If you don't think the minute I hung up the phone with him, if you don't think while I was on the phone with him, he wasn't,
right,
figuring out who he was talking. So he knows what I'm doing. He knows why I want to talk to him. He knows my opinion. It takes 10 minutes of being on the internet to know what I think about the subject, right? So he agreed to talk to me. So
I'll tell you what, Scott, a no comment to me. A no comment to me is actually a good comment when it comes to this. I would rather people when I see somebody stepping up to a podium and lying and saying, "Oh yeah, we have no evidence," I'd rather say, "Oh, hey, what do you have to say about this?" No comment. At least my intelligence isn't getting insulted. So I would rather that.
You know what I would prefer them to say instead of no comment is, I plead the fifth. Because that's a little bit more appropriate, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you're under orders,
I want to incriminate myself, because that's as a private citizen, you can say no comment. Okay, as a government official, when you're in a position of authority, I think no comment is inappropriate. The FBI, they know who I am, right, and they know what this investigation is about, and they've agreed to meet. So we're going to give them that opportunity. And like Avi Loeb said recently on my podcast, the sky is not classified. If something is coming from outside of our universe, it is not national security. And there should be no government claim on the extraterrestrial phenomenon, because it's bigger than just the country. It's the world. And as Avi Loeb says, the sky is not classified, and the universe is not our domain for dominance. So, I think that the FBI should and will eventually step up and do the right thing and be truthful with the American people, because I believe in the people who work there, that on the ground there are good people. Just like, listen, the people are not the problem. It's when you get the people that are being told what to do and they manipulate for some other power. But on a person-to-person basis, people are good, and let's give them a chance.
Right. We'll see what happens. I would love the government to come clean on this. I would love to be proven wrong that they're never going to say anything. I would love somebody from the government, from the FBI, from the CIA, from the Department of Defense. I would love for someone from one of those, any government, federal government official, to finally just, you know what, the jig is up. Obviously, there's something here. You're not, yeah, there's aliens there. The debunkers are totally wrong. The people are right, and there's nothing you could. I would love to have that finally. That would be nice. Well, I guess we should wrap it up, Scott. We've been going on here for a good while now, and I wanted to say I want to thank you very much for showing up on the show today, and appreciate it. And we're going to definitely get more stuff. I can't wait to hear. It's got the Ancient Aliens episode should be awesome. Hopefully, it's a good production. I know that they do have good production values, and we'll get a nice show and put together on
Great
that.
show. They do a great job.
Yeah.
And I'm honored, and I'm going to do a good job. Hopefully people pay attention and be interested in it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just want to say this. I want to say thank you all for joining us today. Until next time.